Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn the next topic in the data structure subject, that is data structure types. It is also called as data structure classifications. So here mainly there are two types. First one is primitive data structures. Second one is non-primitive data structure. So in this one, first primitive data structure. Actually, what is a primitive data structure? Now, what is data structure actually? The collection of information will be organized and stored in a computer. The procedure is called data structure. Right. So here what is a data? The data is the collection of information. What is data structure? The collection of information is organized and stored in a computer. The procedure is called data structure. So now the first one is primitive data structure. Here when we have to select primitive data structure, if you want to store a single value in the computer, you have to take the help of a data structure, that is primitive data structure. So in this primitive data structure, there are the four types are there. First one is integer data structure, next float, next char, and fourth one is pointer. So when we have to select an integer, so if you want to store a single value, that value is a number without a decimal point. Here when we have to use the integer data structure means, if you want to store a number without a decimal point, you have to take the help of a primitive data structure, that is integer. So here in integer we have to take a keyword for it, that is int. So how you have to write in the program? The syntax is int space variable name. Here what is a variable? Variable is a memory location which is used to store your value. So here the variable name may be any alphabet is comes under variable name. So here syntax for it, first we have to take the data structure, that is int is a keyword. After that we have to write variable name. Any name we have to give to it, means here the variable is a memory location and which holds the value. So here I am giving the variable name, that is a. So here how I have to write, that is int space I have to give the variable name, any name I have to give. So here I am taking the a. After that you have to put a semicolon. And example, I want to store some value in it. So here I want to store the value, that is 5. Why I am taking here 5? That the 5 is not having any decimal value, so I can store by using the int keyword. So how I will write, that is int space, I will give a variable name, I will assign the value for it with that equal symbol. So I have to write equal, then I have to give the value for it. So in this statement we are creating a variable and we are giving a value for it, that the value is a. How it will be stored in a computer? In memory location, it will take a memory location name as a, and what I am giving the value, that will be stored in the location, that is 5 will be stored. Next one is float. So in this float, primitive data type, so what I have to store? Actually when we require a float, so if I want to store a number with a decimal point, the opposite of integer, the integer will hold only value, so if without decimal point, right? So here in a float I want to store the number with the decimal value also. So at that situation you have to take a primitive data type, that is float. So the syntax for it, you have to give a keyword, that is float. So float is a keyword to create a variable. Here b is a variable name. Here also b is a variable, means the variable will create the memory in the computer, and whatever the value you will assign for it, the value will be stored in the memory. So here example for it, here float is there and I am giving a variable name as b, and I'm going to store the value in it, that is 5.5. So what will be happen if you use the float, that the 5.5 value will be stored in the location of b. So in a computer, b name is there and it will create a memory location. For that one, the value 5.5 will be stored in the memory location. Next one is char. So when I have to use a char data type, so here if I want to store a single value, means I want to store any character, means any alphabet. So single alphabet means I have to use char data structure. So that keyword for it is char. So how I have to give the value for it? So first we have to know the syntax for it, that is the char. You have to give keyword, then you have to give a space, after that you have to give a variable name. Here the variable name is anyone, so I am taking the variable name as c, that is char space c semicolon, right? So I have created the memory for it. I am going to store it, so I have to assign the value for it, that is equals, and I have to give a character, that is r. While in this one, while we are assigning a value to the char data type, we have to give a single code for it, then only it is treated as a character. So in this statement, what is it means in computer it will create a one memory location for it, that name is c, right? Variable name is a name for the memory location, and the r value will be stored in that location. Next one is pointer. What is the definition of a pointer? Pointer is a variable which stores the address of another variable. Here the variable is a memory location which is used to store some value. Okay, here pointer is a variable, but it just holds the address of another variable. So address value will be stored in this pointer. So here how we have to create a pointer? First we have to give any data type. Means if you want int data type, you can give int and you have to give a space and you have to give a star d. Whenever you are giving a star for it, whenever you are starting with the star, that is comes under pointer. Here variable name is d. Okay, so before d I am giving a star, means it is not a integer type variable, it is a pointer, so which holds the address. So if I want to assign the address for it, I have to write, that is d equals to ampersand a. Means for example, in a memory a have some location, that location value is 100 is there. Okay, the value is 5 is there in it, so the address of a is 100 is there. So here you can see d will hold the address, that is the address of a. Here address of a is 100, the 100 will be stored in the d location. Okay, so how we have to give address? By using one operator, that is the AND symbol. Through this AND symbol, we can give the value, that means we can give the address to the another variable. Means here the address of a will be stored in the d location. Next one is, what is non-primitive data structure? So here non-primitive means here it will hold the collection of information in it. Okay, so in a primitive we will hold only single value, that may be a character, that may be a number, or that may be a number with decimal points, that may be a address of the variable. So in a non-primitive data structure we can hold the collection of values here in primitive we can hold only single value, and a non-primitive we can hold collection of values. So here also in this non-primitive there are two types are there. So that is linear data structure, another one is non-linear data structure. What is linear data structure and what is non-linear data structure? The definition for it: linear, the name itself, it arranges the data in a sequential order. So here linear data structure, the data will be arranged in a sequential order, then you can say that is the linear data structure. So if you want to store the collection of information in a random order, we can say that is non-linear data structure. So now we will see in linear data structure. So in linear data structure also we have again two types. The first one is static, next one is dynamic. What is static? If you are going to store the collection of information, okay, in that situation you will define before of storing, means you are assigning some memory for it to store the collection of information. If you are before only the size will be defined, means the memory location size is fixed, then that is called as static data structure. So if memory size is not fixed one, then that will becomes under dynamic data structure. So in static data structure we can hold the values up to our memory size. In that is in dynamic data structure, the memory will be fluctuated from one data to another data. So the static the best linear data structure is arrays. Now what is the array? The definition for it: the collection of similar data types is called array. See, in primitive data types I told you, if you want to store single value you can use int, float, char. Only single means int means that integer is a one value, and float means float is a one value, not collection. So here by using a array data structure I can store the collection of integer values, and I can store the collection of float values, and I can store the collection of characters. So here the array is used to store the collection of element that must and should be a similar data types, either integer or maybe a float or maybe a character. The best real-time example for array is in your mobile, the contacts will be there. The contacts memory size is fixed. So that uses the array data structure, means that is the static data structure. The memory is fixed. The before while you are storing contact details in it, the memory will be fixed one. So that's why that the contact application is comes under arrays data structure. Next we are going to learn the dynamic. What is dynamic? Actually the memory will not be fixed one. It will store the collection of information and collection of data, but the memory will not be fixed one. It will be increased and decreased way. So here there are mainly three types are there. First one is stack data structure, second one is queue data structure, third one is linked list. First we will see what is stack. Stack is the dynamic data structure and it is the linear data structure. While we are inserting the elements or deleting the elements in the dynamic data structure, what will be happen? It will follow one order. So that's why it is comes under linear data structure. Means it will use a order that is last in first out order. Means the last in first out means who will come last, they will go first out. Right? The real-time example for stack, that is web browser. So whenever we are searching anything, if you want to close the present window, that will be goes to the previous one. So means that the last which web page you have opened, that will be closed first. So that is the real time example for stack. Next one is queue. So queue is the dynamic data structure, means the memory will not be fixed here. So what will be happen in general, the queue will use the first in first out order, means who will come first, they will serve first and they will go first out. Mean the real time example for queue, if you, for example, if you went to bank, there is a queue, means what will be happen, the who will come first, they will serve first only, after that they will be out, right? So in wherever we will go, it will be in a queue format, means first in first out order. The next one is the dynamic data structure is linked list. Actually in a linked list, what will be happen, it will be connect the all the elements in it that is interconnected, means one is completed, then it will goes to the next one, it will complete the next. Real time example for linked list, that is in your mobile 4 songs are there. So if you are playing a first song, if you start playing of video player, so what will be happen, one song is completed, means at the end of the first song it will move to the second song, so then it will be interconnected, so that the media player is comes, that will becomes under linked list data structure. So here stack will use the web browser, means here that is the only real time example. So many real time examples for there for the dynamic, the only one is that is stack, means here the example is web browser, and queue means whenever you are filling online transaction will be first in first out order, so that will be comes under queue. Linked list means it will be interly connected, so that will be best example is media player. The next one is non-linear data structure. See, in a linear the everything will be sequential order, in a non-linear that is in a random order. So here there are mainly two are there. So first one is tree. So the definition for tree is the collection of nodes and vertices are connected. So here tree is a cyclic one, means the repetitions will be there. So here real time example for tree, that is Facebook, that the best application of tree data structure, that is Facebook. So the peoples who are there in it, that will be nodes, and while you are sending receiving any messages, that will be called as edges. And the next one is nonlinear data structure is graph. Graph is also definition for the graph, collection of element and collection of edges are there. So here the real time example for graph, that is Google Map. If you use a Google Map, what will be happen, here the different places will be comes under the nodes and different paths will be comes under the edges, right? And next, thank you for watching everyone.